My name is Christy, and this is Angel Talk, where the Archangels are real, relevant, and accessible to everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Let's talk. Hey everybody, it's Christy Michelle Riggs with Angel Talk. Thank you for being here with me again today. I just wanted to jump on here really quickly and offer us a little bit of encouragement from the angels and from a message that came through, because the energy of the full moon was very intense. I know I experienced it. I'm still experiencing it very intensely. And the energies of the Lion's Gate are really ramping up, and that will peak on the 8th. And we will have yet another portal open on August the 8th, the 8/8 portal. And then also Venus moves into Cancer, I believe, on the 7th of this month. And so we have a lot that we're working with. And Venus in Cancer, if you're not familiar with that, what that will mean is that we're going to feel really sensitive. We're going to feel maybe even sentimental. We can feel, on the shadow side of that, very reactive and very almost kind of explosive at times, because Venus has to do with everything that we hold near and dear to our heart. It's the planet of love. Venus is the goddess of love. And so it has to do with the things that we love, our relationships, particularly our very closest and most intimate relationships. And then, like we've talked about before, Cancer is a very, very feeling sign. So in its highest vibration, that's going to express as very loving, very tender, very nurturing, very compassionate, very forgiving, that kind of thing. And then in its shadow expression can cause us to be kind of reactive and triggered. So with all of that going on, I just wanted to jump on and give us a little bit of encouragement. And so I pulled a card. I asked the angels to guide me to what deck to use. And I'm using the Angel Power Wisdom cards. And I've shared with you before that this is a very loving, nurturing deck. It's the energy that comes from it is very soft and sweet, and just very, you feel like you're wrapped in a hug when you're working with this deck. I really like this deck quite a bit. And so the card, it actually jumped out of my hands and onto the floor, which rarely happens. It says faith in values, and it says love and care for others, lead by example by living your values. And the message that came through for this is the angels want us to understand the difference between our beliefs and our values, and that will help us to navigate these energies, because what was shown to me is that there is a split that is occurring, and it is a split between the old way and the new way, the 3D and the 5D and upper. Because it's not like when we get to 5D, we're just going to sit on our laurels and just hang out there. There are other higher dimensions to continue to explore that will continue to be available to us. So that's why I say 5D and upper. And so there's this split, and there's this tear that's happening, as it was shown to me, like in the space-time continuum, where you can almost feel like, if you're aligned more with those 5D energies and attributes and that place of consciousness, you can almost feel like when you go out into public, or out, to the grocery, is when it usually happens to me. You can almost feel like that people don't even see you. And it can kind of be this bizarre experience, which can then at times cause you to feel kind of lonely and kind of like you're homesick for a place you're not quite sure how to get to. And if you're living in those lower dimensions, it can feel very distressing, you can feel very much not at ease at all, very distressed, very much in despair. And so it's really important that we're aware of this timeline split and why we're feeling the way that we're feeling. And if we are in a place of despair, that we can ask the angels to come in and help us. And all we have to say is, angels, either out loud or to ourselves, angels, help me align with a higher vibration. Help me to take in these new light codes and shift my awareness, shift my state of being, shift my state of consciousness to align with the energies that are coming in to help me get into a place of higher consciousness. I welcome that in. Please bring that in now. Or something like that. It doesn't have to be exactly that. But you get what I'm saying. Something like that we either ask either within ourselves or out loud. I try to do it out loud just because that seems to be more powerful to me. The spoken word is very powerful. And so if I'm just in my home by myself, or in the car, if I'm any place that I can do that out loud, I usually try to do that. But you can certainly, if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can certainly say it within yourself also, that you are open to that and you're asking for that help. So the angels want us to understand that something that will help us is to really be able to understand the difference in our beliefs and our values. And what was given to me is that our beliefs are often more rigid, and they're often imposed upon us or given to us from some sort of external source, whether it be another person, a culture, a religion, a teaching, something like that. That is often very rigid and extremely specific. And our values are more fluid. And we'll touch on that in a minute, because I know some of you may be having the response of, how values fluid? How is that in alignment? And we'll talk about that. But our values tend to be more fluid and come from an inner knowing of what is in alignment with what we find to be of worth. And so what the angels mean by fluid is that they don't mean that our values are flippant or can easily be swayed. That's not what they mean by fluid. What they mean is that our values can expand and shift as we expand and shift in consciousness. Our values allow for this expansion, whereas a lot of times, more often than not, our beliefs are more constricting and can cause us to be in resistance to that expansion. And let me give you like an example. A belief might say, you must think or do or say X, Y, and Z, or you're wrong and therefore unworthy of X, Y, and Z. Whereas our values might look more like this. I value being loving and compassionate, and whenever the opportunity to extend that to myself or others, then I'll do that however that situation calls for it, or however I'm led to do that. So you can see the difference, that our values come from this place of an inner knowing of what's important and an inner knowing of what is for the highest and greatest good for that situation or that person or for ourselves or for whatever it is that we're experiencing moment to moment. And so again, like we talked yesterday with the full moon in Aquarius, it's going to require us to really get in touch with that inner knowing and to think about what we do place value on in this moment, at this time in our lives, at this time in our awareness. And again, that's not that our values can be easily swayed. It's just to say that because they are more fluid and can expand with us as we expand, that we might find that the things that we value the most expand and shift as we do. So like the things that we value in a partner or in a friendship or in a place to live or a career might look very different now that we're on this path of awakening and move to higher consciousness than they did, say, 5 or 10 years ago, or maybe even 1 year ago, or maybe even 6 months ago, right? So that's what they mean by fluid. The other thing that they mean by fluid was what was shown to me is that that our values are like fingerprints, in that no two people have just exactly the same values. They might look very, very similar, and we might both be able to say, I value being loving and compassionate. But the exact amount of worth that we place on that, or how we're going to show that, how we're going to extend that, and how that's going to look moment to moment may be just a little bit different. And I thought that was really neat that they showed me that it was like our fingerprints, that no two people have exactly the same fingerprints or values, but we leave them everywhere we go, all over every situation or person or life or place that we touch, that we come into contact with. We leave an imprint of those values, and that our values have more to do with like our energetic signature. No two people have exactly the same energetic signature. That's something that is unique to each of us. And although those can be very similar, which is what draws certain people and certain places and certain experiences into our lives based on the law of attraction, they're not going to be, that energetic signature is not going to be exactly the same as someone else's. And that's really a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so that's what the angels are really calling us to focus on, to navigate these energies and navigate this split of the two timelines, and that will give us the access to those higher timelines and will help us whenever we encounter situations or people that are aligning with those lower timelines, that we can be that bridge that we've talked about before between the 3D and the 5D, that allows for anyone that allows us, first of all, to remain in the higher consciousness and in the higher timeline and still have this experience with someone who is choosing a lower timeline, or maybe they just don't know, maybe they're still asleep, maybe they are just having a hard time, whatever that is. And because we are strong in our values, we're going to extend that person or that situation love and compassion, or however we see fit in that moment to handle that gives them an opportunity to cross that bridge because of what we've placed value in, and have access to those higher timelines. And it doesn't require a dip in our consciousness or in our actions in order to do that. So that's what was offered to me. I really hope that was helpful to you guys with anything that you might be navigating. I know that these energies can be very challenging, but the angels want us to remember that there's lots of help available to us. That's what they're there for. But we have to ask for it. They're not going to infringe on our free will choice. So if you find yourself in these feelings of despair, ask the angels for help. Ask them for help, and they will show up and they will help. And then we have to be open and willing to receive the help. That's important too. And that's where these beliefs can kind of get us stuck and resistant. So we have to tune in to that inner knowing of what our values are, be open to receiving that help after we've asked for it. And we'll find that we are having a much easier time. So I want everybody to hang in there. If you guys need assistance, if you need help, please reach out. I offer lots and lots of different services, personal card readings, healing services, coaching, counseling sessions, intuitive coaching and counseling sessions, lots of different things that are available. And if it doesn't resonate with you to do that with me, there are lots of wonderful other people doing that too. Just use your discernment and and seek within, as with everything, seek within and find what resonates with you. You can go to ChristyMichelleRiggs.com, or you can connect with me on Instagram and Facebook, both at Christy Michelle Riggs, and reach out to me if you need a little bit more personalized assistance. Otherwise, I'm sending you guys lots of love, lots of care, lots of compassion, and let's all hang in there and stay in these higher timelines and hang on to our values of love and of light. Okay? You guys take care, and we'll talk again soon.